And today's session, I'm going to be talking about those 3 things that you can do in your first autoresponder, the first email that they get after they sign up, so that they actually move from the subscriber status to the buyer status. And I'm going to be talking about what you need to do in terms of psychology to make that happen. So I'm going to read one of my favorite dialogues from a movie. And it says, there is no such thing as a no sale call. A sale is made on every call you make. Either you sell the client some stock or the client sells you the reason that he can't buy the stock. Either way, a sale is made. The only question is, who's going to close, you or him? And that is exactly what happens on your first email. When someone signs up to be on your email, become a subscriber, that first email is a sales email. Now, in that sales email, in that first email, either you're going to sell them the idea that they need to stick around with you, buy from you, forever worship at the altar of your business, or they are going to sell themselves the idea that this is just one of those emails that they subscribe to because they subscribe to thousands of those, and they don't need to open it, read it, or invest in your thing. So the very first email that you send right after someone gets on your email list is your chance to either move them from the subscriber status to the buyer status. And no, you don't need to sell in the first email necessarily, but you need to sell them the idea of you in the first email. Because if you don't write these 3 things in the first email, you will not create a connection, you will not build credibility, and you will also lose them. Now, we know that the world and the internet especially is full of freebie hunters. They are real and they are coming for you. So when someone gets on your email list, most likely they are somewhere between a freebie hunter and a buyer. Your role from that first email is to move them as close to the buyer status as possible and as far away from the freebie hunter status as possible. And today's session, I'm going to be talking about those 3 things that you can do in your first autoresponder, the first email that they get after they sign up, so that they actually move from the subscriber status to the buyer status. And I'm going to be talking about what you need to do in terms of psychology to make that happen. You see me and you hear me, please let me know, because I cannot go on unless I know that you are in fact here and that you are in fact enjoying this and you are in fact interested in this topic. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, we are running a business. If we are just going to focus on list building, then I absolutely hate the term, and not focus on buyer list building. No, this is not actually this. List building, but not enough on buyer list building, then we don't have a business. We have a fan club, and fan clubs don't make money. I mean, they do, but you know what I mean. You know, we want people to see us as a bookshop and not a library. So that first email is super important in establishing yourself as a bloody bookshop where people pay for information, pay for things, and not just come and steal anything that they want. No, it's not like people always steal from a library, but you know what? Get the information for free. You know what I mean? Come on now. We've been doing this forever. Okay, so see me and hear me, give me a thumbs up, give me something, tell me that you're interested. Also take a moment to share this, because I hear a lot of people say, we don't know what to write in the first email. And I know there are different schools of thoughts. There are people who will tell you that you need to, I don't know the term that they use. They use this typical internet marketing term, you need to indoctrine, something like that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. But I like to think of the first email after sign up to only have one purpose. Move them as far away from freebie hunter status and as close to the buyer status as possible. And if they decide to take the leap and become a buyer, all the better. But that is your key role. You don't need to indoctrine them. You don't need to, I don't even know what that means. You don't need to manipulate them. You will be doing some manipulation, honestly, but you don't need to do any reverse somersaults to actually make that happen. There are only 3 things you need to do, and I'm going to be talking about all of those 3. Now, the first thing that you need to understand is that the emails that you send out, any email that you send out, my ideology when it comes to emails is, and honestly, it works because my emails actually do a lot of selling, all of my selling, is that your emails, they need to build a series of yeses. So every email that you send, it has to get a mini yes. I call it the persuasion sequence or email persuasion sequence. And every email in that sequence, it is meant to get them closer to the big yes. And the big yes is opening their wallets and paying you, right? That's the big yes. The big, massive granddaddy of yeses is opening their wallets and paying you the money. But every email that you send has to get one mini yes, get them closer to that big mother gorilla yes. If you're going to send an email that does not do that, that email is worthless. Don't send that email. And that is really exactly why I'm against the here's my newsletter type emails, because here's my newsletter type emails don't build on that sequence of yeses. Instead, they are just, mini bullets that don't even have, that don't do anything, honestly, because they're just like, here's my thing. But they're not sent with this pre-anticipation of what that email will do. What yes will it get, and how will that yes feed into that bigger mother load of yes that we want at the end? So just that's something that to keep in mind. So since we're not talking about the entire email sequence, email persuasion sequence, we're only talking about the first email. Let me tell you the 3 things that you need to do in that first email. But yeah, did anyone share this? Did I share this already? Did I? I don't know. So while I'm sharing this one more time, why don't you do the same? Come on now, don't be shy. I know you want to, and I want you to. So please go on and share this, and I will do the same. Okay. So thing number 1, you want to determine what emotion you want people to feel when they read your email, right? In every email, you need to determine what emotion you want them to feel. But in the first order responder sequence, you want them to feel more than one emotion. You want them to feel 3 emotions. And the first emotion is that you want them to feel connected to you. You want them to feel like they know you, they get you, they understand you, they just saw a glimpse inside your life, your personality. And that connection invites them to actually share their story with you as well. So the first emotion that you want them to feel is connected. Like I've known her all my life, not just all my life. Like I've known her. I can visualize who that person is. The second emotion that you want them to feel is you want them to be impressed. So you want them to be like, she knows what she's talking about. She knows the subject matter. She knows the subject matter. She knows what it is. She knows it inside out. And the third emotion that you want them to feel is mild excitement. Mild excitement and eager anticipation about things to come. So you need to mildly excite them. And if you are selling from the first email, then you need to massively excite them. But there has to be a sense of excitement. It's excited, eager anticipation about things that are to come. So the very first thing that you need to do is to make them feel like they're connected to you. How do you do that? The best way to do that is to share slice of life stories from your life. Don't share super long stories, but just tidbits from your life. So as an example, in my first order responder email, I have some facts about myself. And one of those facts is I don't like ice cream. I have read 315 books on persuasion. I don't eat rice. My family thinks it is a mental disorder. So I kind of shared those tidbits about me. And I have had so many hundreds of people who write back to me and say, oh, guess what? I don't like ice cream too. And someone actually wrote to me and said, guess what? I'm eating ice cream right now as I respond to you, right? So they feel like they're connected to you. Now, please understand that these are people who probably get on hundreds of email lists. They are on hundreds of email lists. Maybe they are habitual freebie hunters. Maybe they like to sign up to email addresses, and they sign up to yours because they found it interesting, but you are an absolute stranger to them. So the best way to bridge that gap, the best way to get them to feel connected to you is to share those banal details about your life that may not seem important to you, but it makes them feel like they know you, right? So any tidbits, anything that makes you interesting, the fact that you are obsessed with Harry Potter, the fact that you are obsessed with, I don't know, Nutella, whatever that is, share those tidbits. That's the first way for them to feel connected to you. The second emotion that you want them to feel is you want them to feel impressed. right? You want them to feel impressed. But again, you want them to feel impressed. You want to share your credentials. You want them to see you as a subject matter, but you also subject matter expert, but you also don't want to come across as an arrogant know-it-all, right? So there is an episode that I did on how to show off without showing off. Just take one of those formulas on how to show off without showing off and then include them in your welcome email. Again, I'm not going to go into detail on how to do that because I've already done a full session on this, so go check out that session. But really, that's all. You just need to impress them enough, but not go to the point where they're like, oh my God, can she just stop talking about herself? Because I'm so done. Come on now. The other thing that you need to do to make sure that they feel connected and they also feel impressed is to include 1 or 2 sentences on how you work with people just like them. So again, don't go into too much detail, but there's also an episode that I did on how to create that you plus me equals a love story type of connection, because that builds instant trust. Check out that session so that you can actually create that you plus me equals a love story positioning in your email. That will not only allow them to feel connected to you, but also be super impressed, because who would not be impressed, right? So those are the two. Now, a lot of people would say that you can use a story. Yes, you can totally use a story. You can use stories from your life. You can choose stories from how you decided to start a business. You can choose stories from any aspect of your life, really. But what you need to do is you need to keep in mind that you need to make them feel connected to you, and you need to make sure that they feel impressed by your authority, by you as someone who knows what they're doing. Okay, how are we enjoying the session so far? Are we enjoying this, or are we like, oh, I've heard this before, I don't necessarily need to hear this anymore? Anyone? Okay. Okay, enjoying this. Okay, but so very hesitant enjoying this. I'm like, okay. Or maybe it's my thing, it's not showing up, the comments. And that's what I tell myself. If I don't see people telling me how awesome I am, I just assume that my internet is not working and the comments are not showing. That's one way to, make yourself feel comfortable about if people are not giving you the praise that you deserve after doing so many days of daily Facebook Lives, daily makeup, new clothes. Okay, I didn't do the new clothes. I don't have a lot of new clothes, but still, people, come on, I need a pat on the back, someone. Okay, moving on to the last one, which is the eager anticipation or mild excitement. Now, again, if your first email that you're sending out, if you are selling in that email, then yes, you need to make sure that you get them edge of the seat excited. You don't just get them mildly excited, you get them edge of the seat excited. But if you're not selling, you're only creating anticipation for the second email and you're selling in the second email, then in the first email, you will get them get into that eager anticipation mode where they will actually be looking forward to the second email. Now, how you can do that is by teasing them about things that are about to come. This means that you will also set expectations of what they should expect from you. So one of the things that I've included in my autoresponder email is what people can expect from me. So I will say, they will get actionable persuasion advice. Sometimes I will talk about parenting, but not all the time. Sometimes I talk about my overly feminist views, whatever that is, So just set the expectations, because what happens is if you don't set expectations, then people either only expect one type of email, and then if they receive something else, they're like, why are you breaking the pattern? I don't want to hear about your poopy children and your weirdo husband. Stop talking about your weirdo husband. I don't want to know. Why did I say weirdo husband twice? It's not like my husband is weird. He's not. He's just grumpy. That's not weird. Grumpy is like a natural human state, especially when it comes to accountants. He's an accountant. Come on, that's in his job description. He needs to be grumpy, as in, come on. How can you be an accountant and not be grumpy? I wasn't grumpy. That's why I had to leave accounting and move on to making videos on the internet, because it was just didn't fit my profile. Anyway, so yes, set the expectations, but also when you set the expectations, create an eager anticipation. So you can do that by telling them what you are be sharing in the next email. If this autoresponder email is for a webinar, let's just say someone signed up for your webinar, and you want them to want to excite them about the webinar, then tell them a few things that you typically share in a webinar. Like I would say, for example, I'm excited to see you in the webinar. My webinars have been called the Netflix for entrepreneurs. People have missed their an episode of Game of Thrones to come watch my webinar, so I know that they're really good. You will not be disappointed. They will be awesome, etc., etc. Create that eager anticipation, but also set expectations. If they only expect to have one kind of information and they receive something else, they will be disappointed and they will hate you, and we don't want that, right? Also, the PS is a good place to mention that you are a business. Now, that may seem obvious, but most people don't know that. And they will be pissed if you try and sell to them. True story. They will be pissed if you try to sell to them. So the PS would be a good place to tell them that, I sometimes share, I have products and I will share, just don't make it sound too transactional, but just share this, just establish that you are a bookshop and not a library. You're a business, not a fan club. Establish that so that, they don't come back, even though it seems like common sense, but it's still not very common. I promise they don't know. And they might even report you as spam if you try to sell to them. True story. Anyhow, 3 things you need to do. I just shared those with you. If you want to create connection, you want to move them as far away from the freebie hunter status and as close to the buyer status as possible. You need to make them feel connected to you. You need to make them feel impressed by you. And you need to create an eager anticipation about the things to come, or an edge of the seat excitement if you are selling right now or you are selling in the next 12 hours after that email. If you enjoyed this session, please give me something, share this broadcast with someone who can benefit from this. And also, I'm tired of saying this over and over again, but I will say it one last time, go buy my book, because it is awesome and it'll make me happy and it will forever change you and your persuasion efforts. So you will not be shooting in the dark and you will not be like, buy my book, buy my book. That's what I'm saying. But buy my stuff because I'm awesome. You will actually know what to say, so people actually say yes to your product or your services. So the book will turn you into a persuasion powerhouse. It will allow you to slice through maybes and no's and glide your way to an effortless sale. That is the promise of the book, and I can't wait for you to check it out and also claim $800 worth of bonuses, because that is how awesome and generous I am. The book is available at not Pit, Bushra, bit.ly/mpm book. Check it out, get the paperback, claim your bonuses, and once you receive the book, please take a selfie and tag me, because that will make me really happy. Hello, YouTube. If you enjoyed this session, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and go buy my book. Yeah, I'm speaking like a robot because I'm tired of speaking in the same high-pitch tone every single day. Yeah, do all of those things, or I will come haunt you in your dreams. Bye-bye.